you are. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bulletproof Evolution. I feel like I haven't been here for a really, really long time. And at the same time, I feel like it was just yesterday that I was sitting here doing a show. So I know I didn't get to do a show a couple weeks ago because our guest was out of town. Well, first she got sick, which was sad. And then she was out of town. But she'll be back. Don't worry. We'll be chatting with Anna Neymark very soon. And we have a pretty cool guest today as well. So, so we are officially halfway through the year. Like I said in the last show, time flies when you're having fun. So now we're going to be moving into Friends. Oh, before I go there, of course, if you like what you see today, give us a thumbs up, share the video, especially if you have friends who are interested in the realm of manifestation and the universe and creating the life of their dreams, whether they're interested in it or they're like, they know this stuff. I'd love to get them in on the conversation today, because that's what we're going to be talking about. So like, share the video, and I loves you forever. So friends, we're talking about friends for this month. Why our friends are important. Some of our friends end up being like family. You know, the friends that actually call you out on your shit and stand up for you, stand up for your greatness. And not just the friends that are there to go and have a couple drinks with you on the weekend. I mean the friends who know who you are, know what you're good at, know what you're meant to be in life, and will push you through with that. So I have friends who have been there for me. I think my longest standing friendship, it will be 17 years later this year. And it kind of like trickles down after that. I have some friends who I've had for 15 years, 10 years, and even some really, really, really good friends that I've had for maybe a year or 2 years. Yet in that short amount of time, well, really a year or 2 years isn't that short of a time. It does go by quickly. But they've learned enough about me, they've seen enough greatness in me that they can call me out on some stuff and we can have a mature conversation about things. So this is a great month to shout out to your friends. Use this show. Tag your friends in here. Let them know you love them, that you're grateful for the relationship that you have with them. I want to give a shout out to my friends because I recently got married. So that's why this last couple of weeks just has flown by so fast. So I got married not last Friday, but the Friday before that. And it was a wonderful, magical, amazing, beautiful day. And of course I had lots of family there and a lot of friends. So thank you to everyone who was there, because it means that you made our day and our relationship important enough to actually be there and celebrate with us. And we really, really appreciate that. However, there are a group of women that I really want to give a special shout out to, because even just throughout the last year, there have been so many changes that have gone on with the wedding. And these are women that would have been my bridesmaids, like ever since high school. I'm like, these are going to be my bridesmaids. They're like sisters to me. And, you know, some things happened, and I decided I wasn't going to have bridesmaids. I would just have a maid of honor. So she definitely gets a big shout out. She's been my best friend for 17 years. So even in her speech on my wedding day, said that we're like sisters. We never really wanted to have a sister. We both have brothers. But we have such a close relationship. It's like, oh, we are like sisters, and we just don't have the same size clothes or shoes, which is a huge bummer because she always has really nice shoes. So, you know, there's 4 other women who, regardless of whatever drama, for lack of a better word, went on in the last year, they were there to support me. They didn't just go, oh, well, we're not going to be bridesmaids, so have fun with your wedding planning. No, they were there for the whole thing. Like, I didn't have to touch my bridal weekend, which I had a few weeks ago, because they handled everything. So thank you, ladies. You know who you are. I really appreciate you being there for me at this really crazy time in my life. There's some things I'm holding back on. Some of you know. Yeah, I'm really grateful to have women like that in my life who are willing to pick up some things for me. I'm trying to be like really secretive about something right now. Anyway, So thank you, and especially to my maid of honor and her mother, who, for anyone who was at the wedding, the venue was beautiful enough. However, my maid of honor and her mother made it like look like a million gazillion bucks. So thank you so much. If you thought to yourself at all that day, oh wow, this is a really beautiful wedding, those were the ladies who made it look Hilda. So thank you. All right. So speaking of friends, I have a new friend sitting next to me, and we're going to talk about an even bigger friend who I think a lot of us are very grateful for, being aware of this friend. Yet there are a lot of us who maybe don't notice this friend, and it gets a little underrated. So we're going to be talking about manifestation and the universe, and I have Marisa Alejandra with me. I like saying it like that. It just sounds so much better than Marisa Alejandra.
It's perfect.
So yeah, let's talk about manifestation. What exactly is it, and how does it work in our life?
Yeah, okay, so she was talking about this friend, and that friend is the universe. And, it's interesting. I have kind of like come across this concept of manifesting out of my own development, out of my own, process of transforming myself and my own level of confidence and, allowing myself to create a business that I have now. And it's been really interesting to see the power of utilizing what I would call the universe to really attract opportunities, to really receive all kinds of things without having to do much work for it, without having to struggle or really push hard. And that's not to say that you don't work, you don't take actions, you're not just like sitting on your couch like a couch potato, but really like allowing the universe to, give you things, anything that you ask for, and kind of playing with the magic of the universe is really, really fun, and is one of the keys of manifesting. It's incredible. People that work with me know that their lives become really magical out of their talking with the universe, communicating with the universe, being intentional with the universe. And really like what that is being intentional about our thoughts. What are we thinking? Mm-hmm. What are we paying attention to? Like, are we paying attention to the stuff we don't want in our life? Are we paying attention to the things that we do want in our life? Are we clear about what we want from the universe? A lot of times we're like, how come I haven't gotten what I wanted? And a lot of times we're not clear about what it is that we actually need or want to have. And that's really why we haven't been able to reach our goals, or why you might not have, gotten to your dream spot yet, is because of where your attention is focusing. Maybe the judgments that you have about yourself or other people on your pathway there really kind of stand in the way. And so that's a few little nuggets, and I think we'll get to a lot more about like how to really like attract what it is and really magnetize what you want to have in your life.
Yeah, no, so for this year, it's crazy to think that we're already halfway through, and there have been some crazy things that have been happening in my life this year, and sometimes I sit back and I go, what did I say? What did I do? How did this happen? But before we get into all that, speaking of manifestation, all that, how did you get to where you are today as a life coach?
Yeah.
You have an interesting journey.
Oh my gosh, I do. My degree was not in psychology or any of that stuff. I kind of had like a long path to getting to where I am right now. I actually have a degree in molecular biology, which has absolutely nothing to do with this, which is okay because here we are. But I started out as a health coach, and I had managed an obesity prevention research study for the federal government, and I really got interested in disordered eating. I was like, this is really fascinating. Why do people feel like they need to starve themselves or eat a certain way, or why do people emotionally eat and whatnot? I had this like burning desire to understand what people were going through that really impacted their eating habits. And so I started a health coaching business, which was Hello Beautiful Health, which I still kind of do some work with. Still have some clients there. And that I started working with women who struggle with binge eating and emotional eating. And it was through that process that I realized how important it is for us to love ourselves, how important it is for us to really like change our mindset about the way that we think about things, how important positive thinking is to actually preventing emotional and binge eating, right? Because everything about binge eating and emotional eating is really around like this need to lose weight or to not feel worthy in our bodies or to not feel good about ourselves, which then kind of leads to this like reactive behavior of emotional eating or binge eating. And so I started like trying to figure out how can I help people change their mindset. And then I was going through my own transformation process and running my own business and needing more confidence and needing to be able to raise my rates and doing all those things that entrepreneurs go through. And it was through spirituality and through this concept of manifestation and the law of attraction and all these things that I was able to really like take myself to the next level. And I started using it with my clients and things started to transform like really fast. And I'm going, oh my gosh, like this is incredible. I mean, literally started producing results that they were struggling with for a long time, that things started to alter about the way they were thinking on a regular basis, and just they were happier and were moving through depressive states much quicker and that sort of thing. And so I was like, I need to teach more people about this. This is really important. It doesn't matter if they are binge eaters, emotional eaters, they suffer from depression, or they just want to have more confidence in their business or whatever they're up to, or they want to just feel better. It's like, this is a huge answer and way for that to occur. And so I started my coaching business, really just expanded into life coaching using the principles of law of attraction and manifesting to really support people to have, you know, happiness and joy and peace of mind in their life.
Oh my gosh. So how did that transition, like, was there like something that happened where you're like, oh, I'm going to move from health coaching to life coaching?
Yeah.
Was it just a natural transition, or was there like an actual like thing that was like?
There was that. Yeah. I went to France last year for a month, and I was by myself. And I just like, I had this feeling like I need to go there to like get away and to like relax. And I had all of the time in the world to spend with myself and to slow down and to relax. And I will tell you that before I went to France, I was one of those people who was always doing things. I was like really busy. I worked probably 60, 70 hours a week. I was like pushing really hard, working long days. I was exhausted, stressed out, tired. And I was studying the law of attraction and I did not get it. And I was like, I don't understand this. Like, why don't I have what I want in my life? I watched The Secret and then I was like, this sucks. I don't have this.
Does this sound familiar to anyone?
Right. And I went to France and it finally clicked for me. It finally clicked. Like, I received just so much clarity in that moment, in that time slowing down, of where I was really just walking and listening to podcasts and reading and meditating and spending time like in silence a lot. And it just finally clicked. It finally resonated with me. And to not be like so results oriented and attached to like outcomes, it really just like allowed me to let go. And I had one of the biggest months in my business ever that month. And I worked the least I've ever worked in my life, right? And to me, that was incredible. That was showing me that I could actually do less and receive more. It wasn't about doing everything in my business. It wasn't about like pushing really hard and struggling and taking every opportunity. It was actually about slowing down, listening to my intuition, receiving the clarity, you know, like allowing my brain to be creative that like set that pathway off. So I last November like started my first program, enrolled a bunch of people in it, and it was phenomenal and lots of transformation had. And so I've kind of continued to build on that since then.
I find it so interesting, you know, that concept of letting go, and more importantly, letting go of end results. And at the same time, especially as an entrepreneur, you're working on something, you want to have something to look forward to. And a lot of times we set a goal with an end result and then we're like, gah, like how do we get there? So for me, like, I'm totally on that journey too, where it's like, where is this happy medium of like knowing what I want and at the same time letting go of that actual result?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's really
it's the hardest part. It's the hardest part. And it's a way of thinking. It's a mindset, really. Like, that's, if we look like deeply at what it is to manifest and to let go of attachment, it's just how we approach things. It's how we approach life so that we have perseverance, right? And that we continue moving and that we're not attached to things failing. Because really, if we look at when things don't work out or they don't work how we expected them to, we think we're not good enough, we think we're going to fail, we think that we're not meant to be doing something, that it's not the right pathway, and that we should just give up, right? Mm-hmm. And by really like allowing yourself to let go of the attachment, you get to say, okay, well, this didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that I can't get to X, Y, or Z place, you know? I've been talking about this recently, like in my Facebook page and on Instagram and stuff like that, that before I started my business, I wasn't very results oriented. I just was like, oh, I'd love to do this in my life. Mm-hmm. And then it would show up. That's manifesting. I had no attachment to it happening. It was just an idea that I thought that would be great. That would be great if I could do that. Okay, great. But when I started my business, you're in the business world and everyone's like, set a monthly income goal, set how many clients you need to achieve, like set all of these, like you have to have this and you have to be that. And that had me be attached to that outcome. Whereas before, I was really just like, okay, like I want to go and do international work. And then within a month, I had like an international work opportunity. And I was like, I want to manage a community program. And then within like a short period of time, with like a year, I was managing a community program with no previous experience, right? So manifesting, again, is not like about the struggle piece. It's actually about like letting go and trusting that it's going to work out somewhere, somehow, and not being upset by or attached to the failure part of that.
Which is where I'm totally at right now. So, how do I put this into a question? So, we have something that we want. We say, okay, so for example, this show. I said, I've always wanted to have my own show. And we were talking about it before we started. I was a news and a journalism student, but I know I didn't really want to do news. So I kind of just went into sports. And then I started doing personal development. I went, this is it. I want to do a show. And slowly and surely, everything started to come into fruition, yet it still took me so freaking long to realize that I had everything I needed right here. I just had to do it.
Right.
So I know there are a lot of people out there who may have said, I want to do X, Y, Z with my life, and then it shows up for you, and we got the tunnel.
We didn't see it or notice that it was right there, and absolutely.
So, I mean, is there I know we're talking about letting go, but I mean, is there a way of recognizing those things?
Absolutely, yeah.
And does it come down to just being clear with what we're actually asking for?
That's part of it, absolutely. I think the other part of it is allowing ourselves to be present. So we go through life like on double time speed, and we're like racing through life and we're pushing and we're forcing and oftentimes we miss the opportunity to recognize like what's showing up in front of us, right? So we're just so like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to check this off the list and I have to do this, that we're not even noticing that the universe is actually like, hey, like we actually have this opportunity for you, or like, hey, you should do this, and or we're so stressed in general that we don't even have the confidence to take advantage of the opportunities that are being offered us, right? So you may like have an opportunity that comes to you and someone really big is like, yes, I'd love for you to do something for me, or I'd love to be on your show, and you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, right? And that's really like a product of us not being present, really being like overly like anxious and not feeling good about ourselves and not feeling worthy. And so there is a process. This is part of the course that I teach of really, one is slowing down, right? Slowing down is really, really important to accessing your creativity, for, feeling confident and not anxious all the time and things like that, or too stressed or whatnot. But also, allowing yourself to get present to the things that are right in front of you right now today. that are headed in that direction, right? So we oftentimes blow off the small opportunities as nothing. So you might say, okay, like this isn't working for me, but like you didn't notice that someone the other day asked you to like, asked to share your information with a friend to bring somebody on the show, right? And if you're not present to those little opportunities, it won't grow. So they always say like where you're paying attention to is always going to grow, whether it be good or bad. So if you're paying attention to what you don't have and what's not working, then what grows is what's not working, right? But if you're paying attention to like, oh, like someone reached out to me here and someone reached out to me there and someone, this happened and this person said they want to sponsor me and this person said that they wanted to work with me, whether they happen in that moment, that's the energy that you're creating. That's the enthusiasm, the excitement that you're creating around your goal that then allows you to say, okay, I'm on the right path. I can do this, and allows you to move forward, right? So it's not even like rocket science. We can even just tie it back to like what we think about and how we approach ourselves is really like, taking us to the next level. But, it's allowing ourselves to get present to the little magical things that show up, the little things that show up that you're like, oh my gosh, like how did this even happen?
So I think for a lot of us who do get easily stressed out, I can be quite the stress monster. I think I see all the time people saying, oh, I want to have this in my life and I want to have that in my life, and then it just doesn't happen for them. And so could that come down to just they're focusing on the stress, the mess, and everything else, as opposed to what they really, really want? And when that opportunity does arise, they're so stressed out or they're so focused on something else that they don't even see it. Yeah.
Gratitude plays a big role in manifesting, right? So being grateful for like what it is that we see right in front of us. And that is seeing the opportunities as well, right? And so when you're stressed or you're tired or you're really anxious, it's almost impossible to recognize or be grateful for things. It's impossible almost to be excited about things when you're exhausted or you're too tired, right?
Yeah.
And I was there in my life, like in the beginning of my journey of entrepreneurship. I was pushing myself so hard right when I had just started and I was still working full time and I was doing everything, coaching a leadership program and, volunteering all the time. And my life was amazing to the standards of what we would consider, successful. But I couldn't recognize that because I was so exhausted. I couldn't even be happy about what I was accomplishing, right? So we can really get that if you're not like allowing yourself to enjoy the small moments, which is where you're focusing your attention, right? If you're not focusing your attention, you'll never get to that point where you're like excited or growing, towards what you want, right? Instead, you're constantly focused on what you don't have or what's not working or how it's not where you want it to be yet. And what that does is that creates that mindset of like, I'm never going to get there. I'm not good enough to make this happen, which doesn't allow you to have that like perseverance to kind of keep going through the challenges.
Yeah, I know I've definitely been there. I'm failing to think of like a specific example, but I know there's definitely been times where I've been so overwhelmed with whatever it is that it's taken me weeks, months, maybe even years to look back and go, oh my gosh, I had all of, whatever it is right there in front of me, and I never took the opportunity to be grateful for even like the tiniest little things. I think that's one of the best parts about gratitude is, it's easy to say like, oh, I'm grateful to have a roof over my head, or I'm grateful to have, friends and family. But like, how can we like
feel it and appreciate it and really like, it takes practice.
Yeah, or even like find like the gratitude in the tiniest little things. Like, sure, I'm not a millionaire, but at least I had $20 to put in my car this morning to get wherever I needed to go. You know what I mean? Like,
right. We can be grateful for those moments.
Those little things.
Yeah,
right.
Totally. We take them for granted.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think that goes for like every single area of our life too. Like especially like relationships. Like like where a lot of times relationships don't work because we forget to be grateful for the small things that our partners are doing for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing goes for our business, right? Like if you're not appreciating your business or your work for like what it's providing to you, you can create a very negative space for yourself and your coworkers or whoever else is around you, right?
Yeah.
And that just makes you feel small. It makes your energy come down. It doesn't allow you to, not to say you need to stay in a bad career, right? But if you're so negative and so like unhappy, what are your chances of feeling confident to apply for another job? What are your chances of feeling good about interviewing for another job? Or you get into that negative space of like, there's nothing out there, I'm never gonna find anything, and then we get stuck, we get in that paralysis zone.
I love that. So what are some little nuggets, like if we could not write a to-do list, but little tidbits that we can work on in our daily life or regular lives that can lead us towards being more grateful and opening ourselves up to what the universe is offering us, because it's listening.
It is listening
all the time.
Yeah, I can absolutely give some. There's so many different things. I'll have to choose. Let me think. I would say the first thing, and this was a big transformation that I had in France, right, was that I was the happiest I've ever been by myself, walking in nature and cooking every day, right? Oh. That was it. That's all it took. I was the happiest, most relaxed I've ever been in my lifetime, right? So when I came back to San Diego, I was like, those are the most important things that I need to make sure that I have in order for me to stay happy. Everything else doesn't matter. Those simple little things are the things. Now, we get it in our head that we have to have success, that we have to make lots of money, that we have to be in a relationship, that we have to have X, Y, or Z in order for us to be happy. And what we're doing is we're kind of creating this cycle of unhappiness for ourselves, this lack of satisfaction, right? And again, what we want from the universe is we want, okay, whatever you think about grows. So if you can focus on the really simple things first that actually make you feel happy and at peace and joyful and whatever that is, those simple things, make sure you do them all the time. Those tiny little things. They usually don't cost money. They usually, it could be like getting 8 hours of sleep a night, right? That doing those things first, starting there, is going to create this experience of like having more energy and being happier. And then that trickle effect happens in every area of your life, right? So if you're happier just in your beingness, right? You're going to be happier in your job. You're going to be happier in your relationship. You're going to be happy in your business. And that makes you more confident, and that makes you more excited about what you're working on and all that stuff. So that's the first step, I would say, is really like slow down and take a look at what actually makes you happy. What are the simplest things that you can do that actually make you feel happy and at peace?
Yeah, maybe take some alone time.
Yeah.
Get all the noise and the gossip
Absolutely.
and the whatever it is out of your head.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a big proponent of writing. Like, I find writing to be very therapeutic. I know some of my clients are like, we hate writing, but it helps you process a lot.
Yeah.
And I actually recommend, really like writing out what you're grateful for. So like allowing yourself to like in paragraph form, like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, and this is why I'm grateful for it. And like, here's what I can see. And that like changes your mindset. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I do my like 10 things of gratitude every day. And I'm like, how's that working for you? And they're like, it's not working. I don't feel grateful, right? Just that experience of not feeling the appreciation of it, it really takes something to feel that. So like actually writing paragraphs of what it is that you're grateful for and why you're grateful for that and why it makes a difference for you in your life can really change your emotions in the moment.
I was going to say, and how often throughout the day does something happen where we're like, oh my gosh, yes, and then we forget about it by the end of the day.
Right, absolutely.
So maybe even like taking the time right there, like even if it's just writing down like, this was a good thing that happened today, and then you can go back at the end of the day and write down like, why are you so grateful for whatever that was that made you stop and go, thank God, or whatever it is.
Totally. That's and that's part of why slowing down is important, right? So that we can be present to each in those every moments. I have people record like magical things that happen to them. That's what I call it. But like, what are those like amazing things that occur, even the smallest things, right? Like, I went to go make copies this morning and the cash register was down. She's like, oh, you can just have your copies for free. And I was like, thank you. Like, that's so nice of you, or like you're on the freeway and like someone doesn't cut you off and like lets you go. Like, these are the little things that you want to, or you think you're going to be late and you get there on time.
Yeah.
These are the tiny little magical moments or the little things that you want to begin to what I would say kind of builds the magnetism into your life. So the more that I began to recognize those tiny little things that were showing up, the more that they started to happen, right? Like every day, all these opportunities would start to come towards me. New clients, like new, free things, or, anything that I could possibly think of, people offering me to help, to help in all kinds of things. It was just amazing. So really like beginning to pay attention to those little magical moments, also called synchronicities, those things that we think about that just kind of show up all of a sudden. The more you can begin to think about those things like in your like regular day, the more that they'll start to happen.
I definitely had a few of those leading up to the wedding, just things that I wanted, and then, there were things falling apart. I think it's just part of the wedding planning process. And I'm like, what? It's not really necessary. Like, there were, some decorations and stuff that we wanted to have at the wedding. I'm like, is anyone really going to notice?
Right.
And go, oh, you know what? They should have done this with that. Like, they're not going to know. And I was like, oh, no, it's fine, whatever. We just won't do it. And then it ended up happening. Like,
we didn't see exactly what you did.
Yeah.
You let go of attachment to having it, and then it showed up.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to pay for it.
Nope. Didn't. It was expensive stuff too. So we were just like, oh, it's okay. The wedding's going to be beautiful without it. Our love for each other isn't going to change, all that mushy, gushy, lovey stuff. And I think it was like the day or two before the wedding, the venue coordinator came up. She goes, so things have worked out in your favor.
Even better than you could possibly imagine, right? Because you would have had to pay for it before, and then you got it for free.
Yeah,
totally.
Happened a few times.
Amazing.
A few different things.
Perfect example of letting go of attachment.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Love it. So, writing things down.
Yes.
And actually meaning, writing it
feeling
from the heart.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we can practice?
Let's see. I think that one of the, let's see, what do we want help with? Let's see, letting go of attachment might be a good thing. So a writing assignment that I often give to people is actually literally writing and speaking that you're letting go of something. So there's something about speaking and writing, when we actually do it versus just thinking about something, that it kind of puts it into reality. So our mind is really powerful, as we kind of know, and we're talking about, right? Our mind is really powerful when it comes to what we can accomplish, right? So if you don't believe you can accomplish something, it's not super likely that you're going to accomplish it, right? So for all those mindset people out there, we know that we have to really have our mindset towards something. So our mindset is really, really powerful. So if you want to let go of attachment of something, you can literally write, I'm letting go and I'm going to let this show up however it needs to show up. I'm letting go of whatever it is that you're attached to. Here's what I want to feel. I think focusing on feelings instead of the result or the outcome is really important. I want to feel happy. I want to feel loved. I want to feel excited about something. I want to feel fulfilled, whatever those feelings that you're looking for out of the result or the outcome, right? So let's say for people, the business owners out there who are I want to make 10 grand per month, right? And they're like, that's my goal. I'm going to make 10 grand per month. But oftentimes when we're not even close to that goal, or we're that's, I'm, a client decides not to join you or doesn't pay or something like that, we get really frustrated, right? And then that takes our energy out and whatnot. But what we can do is we can say, I surrender. There's something about the feeling that I want to have about making 10 grand a month. I want to feel at peace. I want to feel free to spend money. I want to be able to feel comfortable and happy and be able to do X, Y, and Z. Focus on that instead.
Who would you be as a person if you had that?
Exactly.
As opposed to actually having
the
10 grand. Yeah, the 10 grand. More so, how would I feel as a person if I, what would I do? How would I act? What would it smell like, feel like, all of that?
Yeah.
Wishy-washy, hippy-dippy stuff.
Exactly.
Works. I think it works.
But it does. It's really just allowing you to not focus on the fact that you're failing, and it allows you to focus on the feeling of, okay, I am happy right now, or I have these things that make me feel great. And that just, again, we have to feel good in order to take actions, right? We have to feel good to take the big actions that we really want to take. We have to, if you're trying to push yourself to the next level, you're not going to do it if you're feeling sad and depressed and
Yeah.
about yourself, right? You're going
Yeah.
to do it if you feel like, okay, wow, like I'm onto something, or I'm feeling good about myself, you know? And so that really like allows you to focus on, okay, I'm feeling this way. That means I'm already on my way to that thing, right? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling at peace. I'm feeling comfortable. Okay, great. I'm not attached to that number. I'm going to keep moving towards a number. I'm still going to like have that there in front of me, but I don't have to be like attached to it. Like I don't have to feel like I failed if it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So, okay, you know, who would I be as a woman with 10 grand? Who would I be as an entrepreneur with 10 grand? What does that feel like? And then implement that feeling into my life now with
And look
whatever.
for that feeling with everything that you have. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, for those people who want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Absolutely. Let's see. So probably the easiest way is to reach me by email, which is marisa@marisaalejandra.com, and or through Facebook or something like that. My website is www.marisaalejandra.com, and so you can find me there. I have lots of places you can enter your information and reach me through that. Yeah, that's the best way, probably.
Cool.
Or Instagram, I'm there too.
Okay, cool. So I'll make sure I
Yeah.
tag all of those things in there. Yes. What type of things are you working on right now?
I have a course launching actually fairly soon. It's called The Art of Being Magnetic. So this is really about getting your energy to that place where you feel confident and you feel great and you're attracting those opportunities that you want in your life, using the law of attraction, using this shift in mindset and positive thinking. And that's coming up at the end of this month, so the end of July. I will be running it a couple times a year, but it's an awesome program. It's really fun. I've done it once before, and the people have, you know, effortlessly brought a lot of amazing feelings into their life and amazing things. So I would love for anyone to join me. If they're interested, they can reach out.
Very cool. Yeah. So opening your eyes to all of those wonderful, amazing things that are already there in front of you, as you've asked probably bazillions of times. You're just like tunnel vision. I know I do it all the time where I'm like, I want this, but I'm just going to focus on this.
Right. What I don't have. Yeah.
Yeah. Silly. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for our discussion today and manifesting whatever magic we want in our life. Yeah, so I'll be back in a couple weeks, hopefully with Anna Neymark. Not making any promises because I still have to confirm some things with her. Other than that, I hope everyone has an awesome couple of weeks. If there was one thing that we could be more of in this world, what would that be?
Gosh, I think the one thing is probably kind to each other. I think kindness is a really big topic of conversation right now, and having like generosity with our kindness would be the thing. And like our friends, like our conversation, our topic for today.
Yeah.
You know, being kind to our friends is a great place to start.
All right. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so be kind. And I think one really great way to be kind is to tag your friends in this post and let them know how much you love them. I think it's okay to do things publicly. I think there's this like weird stigma that if, you know, we do some act of kindness and it's recorded or it's put out in public, that it's
not humble.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I think it's good. I think it's nice little friendly reminders that we can actually do really nice things. And, you know, I think some of us get stuck in our head that we live in this bad and dangerous world. No, put it out there. Let people know that you're doing your thing and that people deserve to be appreciated. So be kind, everyone, and I will see you soon.